one of the things that I think is really interesting about homeopathy is how many, not only how many ways it can be practiced, but how many avenues of thought can be taken from this one system. For me, homeopathy is far more than just giving a medicine. The fact that the medicines work is spectacular enough, but for me, the real magic of homeopathy is the philosophy that comes from the fact that non-material medicines work. You can apply homeopathy clinically, that is, lycopodium for liver dysfunction, or chelidonium for liver dysfunction, or you can use, fatty degeneration of the liver. You can start thinking of things like, lachesis or phosphorus. So you can use it in a very clinical medical model. But you can also take it a lot further than that. And this is where I think that the breadth of Hahnemann's thinking and the system that has been developed is such a bonus, such a prize to life. What I mean by that is this. Homeopathy is one of, if not the only medicine that I know of that uses material form and then extracts energy from that material form, that life force from the material form, to place that back into a material substance, the pills or the stock bottle, which is then used in a physical way to patients to reinvigorate and balance out their vital force. So what we're seeing in the whole process of making and giving and distributing homeopathic medicine is this energy, matter, energy, matter, energy, matter. And what we can get from that is can be taken, like I said, in a very clinical sense, but it can go much further than that, where we are looking at it as a model of life, death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death. Because what we're seeing is the transference of energy into matter, the breaking down of that matter back into energy, and then the almost transfiguration of that energy back into matter. So what we can understand from understanding the principles of homeopathy that Hahnemann showed us is that it creates a template from which all life can be understood. It can be understood, as I said, from a clinical, medical perspective, not just that this is a good remedy for that complaint, but we can take it one step further into a more constitutional model where what we're looking at is that this remedy will supply vital energy for that patient's entire being. And so what we're looking at there is constitutional treatment. And from that constitutional treatment, we begin to get an idea, a greater insight into the coexistent sort of web of life that human beings have with their environment, with other people, and disease as a consequence from a negative interaction of those things. The third part where homeopathy takes us, if we want to, is into the whole philosophical question of how does life work. What we find from understanding of how homeopathic medicines are made and how they are distributed and given to patients is a symbol for how all life works, because this is the energy, matter, or the life, death, rebirth model. And so by using homeopathy not as a symbolic mysticism, but as an actual template for how it works, or like taking it literally. If we see that we have, let's take a plant like China, and we break that china down and we put it into a vial, and that vial, which contained just distilled water and ethanol, now becomes the china. And what we see is that long after the actual tree of China has passed away, that essence of that tree remains. And so what we have is a beautiful model for understanding the building of life and the building of information and experience through understanding how homeopathic medicine is transferred and made. So we have life in a sense that the tree China is experiencing life, or we are here in this life doing what we do, interacting with the people that we interact with, experiencing, gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom, gaining insight through the experience of day-to-day existence. That is all succussed onto our soul, which is like the water, which then remains forever. And when you understand that this is what the homeopathic model is teaching us, then you can see that Hahnemann, even though in some ways he didn't explain it in exactly the same way as what I'm saying now, what he does do is that he puts down, he gives to us a system that is the overview of what a million sages of the million speculations can only question. And what he does is he says, because homeopathy works, because homeopathy is the true essence of energy and matter, back to energy, back to matter, then what we get from that is a stable point where we can understand exactly through the process of homeopathy how the system of life works. And this is, I think, one of the great legacies that Hahnemann has left us. He's left us with the ability to be able to make a living out of, for ourselves and our family, out of the practice of medicine. He's given us the benefit that we can feel good about what it is that we do, because we are enhancing people's life, not just taking away disease, not just helping with symptoms, but we are actually advancing people's lives through giving them an extra vitality through the medicine that we provide. And then thirdly, at a very personal level, Hahnemann has given us a blueprint to understanding, to advance our knowledge way beyond speculative mysticism into fully grasping and being able to understand at a grassroots level how life works. And I think, what is Hahnemann's legacy? Hahnemann's legacy is exactly what I just said. And how long is it going to last? It'll last forever. Because even if homeopathics as a medicine is being challenged, the knowledge that it provides is universal and timeless.